All the novels became book club favourites, and Liv was happy to label herself as George's biggest fan. And here, finally in her hands, was a draft of Essie's 20th book. Other readers would kill for this moment. Pulling out her earbud, Liv looked over her shoulder towards the closed writing room door. For a moment, she wondered if Essie had intentionally left the manuscript for her to find, as she sometimes did with books by other writers. No, it's not possible, she told herself. Mere mortals were never allowed to clap eyes on Essie's work before it was published, except for her agent, Marlon, and editor, Meg. For the first couple of years that Liv worked here, the author had been strictly out of bounds, and her writing door remained closed. But over the last 12 months, things had begun to change. Essie called out to Liv for reminders of plot points and her characters' likes and dislikes. "Nobody knows Georgia Rory like you do," Essie once said, making Liv feel like a child wrapped in a hot towel fresh off the radiator. If she had to find one word to describe it, she'd say Essie was thawing towards her. Warmth spread in Liv's chest, the delicious yearning she felt whenever she held a new book. When she fingered the tatty edges of paper, anticipation shimmied down her spine. Was there any harm in peeking at a page or two? She nervously glanced at a photo on the shelf of the author. Essie wore a blue evening gown with embroidered birds on the shoulder. Her round glasses had lenses as dark as licorice, and her trademark patterned silk scarf was tied around her sharp black bob. Tangerine orange was her preferred lip colour. She once attended all the best parties and award ceremonies, and her fans voted in droves for her to win the Global Constellation Writing Prize 10 years ago. And then, on the eve of the Constellation after-party, Essie vanished. Post-award interviews were cancelled, and journalists were left hanging. Speculation raged. Was she ill? What had happened? Where was she? As the months ticked by, her fans clung to the hope she might emerge from hiding to grace a local bookshop or appear on TV. But Essie hadn't been seen in public for a decade. Liv always wondered how and why things changed so dramatically for the author. Why would someone with the world at their feet cut themselves off from society? Now that would make a great story. Unable to resist the lure of the manuscript, Liv sat down cross-legged on the carpet and began to read the first chapter. She'd always had a vivid imagination, allowing her to slip into books and become one with the characters. The room and the photographs faded away. Aware of nothing else but the story, Liv kept on turning the pages. Georgia swallowed her worries away as she strode into the airport. Old-fashioned fans rattled on the ceiling and did little to circulate the stifling heat. It was a tiny place with a dusty track for a runway and 2 propeller planes on standby. She gripped the handle of her battered leather suitcase, full of trepidation. She'd travelled the world and been on many adventures, but this time her throat was scratchy and her anxiety was rising. "I'm not sure where I'm going, or what I need to do," she said aloud. "Is there anyone who can help me?" "Olivia, what on earth are you doing?" a woman's voice said. Liv's bookish world snapped away, and her cheeks flooded with colour. Essie was the only person who used her full name. How long had she been standing in the doorway? Liv frantically gathered the pages of the manuscript together before realising they weren't numbered. Questions rumbled in her head about what she'd just read. Where was the warmth and fun in the story? Where was George's usual quick wit and confidence? Her eyes crept fearfully towards Essie's beige Tory birch pumps up her slim black trousers and silk blouse, before reaching the patterned Hermes scarf in her hair and her narrowed eyes. "Essie, I'm so sorry," she spluttered. "I started to read and couldn't stop." Essie's glasses slipped down her nose, so Liv could see her steely grey irises. "My writing room in 10 minutes, please," she snapped. She turned on her heels and left the room.